Dear friends, English literature, romantic poetry, Lord Byron, Don Juan, Canto 1. Short questions with answers. Short questions 19 to 26. Question 19. How did Juan manage to flee from Julia's bedchamber? Answer. Julia was married to Alfonso. Their conjugal life was not happy because of their unequal age. Because of his old age, Alfonso could not satisfy her physical demand. Julia felt compelled to surrender her body to Juan in order to pluck sexual pleasure. Alfonso was suspicious. He left home under the pretense of business. In a cloudy night of November, Julia was having sex with Juan in her bed. Alfonso returned with torches, friends, and servants. They searched the bedchamber of Julia and failed to detect Juan. They left the room. But after some time, Alfonso entered the room alone and gave some strange excuses for his action. He also begged her for pardon. But suddenly he saw a pair of shoes of a man in the room and became very much furious. He left the room to bring back his sword. Julia went to the closet and told Juan to flee away at once. When he tried to flee through the open door, he faced Alfonso with open sword. There ensued a duel between them. Juan knocked him down. Alfonso hit him with his pommel. His sword had dropped from his hand before he could open it to attack Juan. They continued their fighting hand to hand. When Alfonso tried to hold back Juan, he squeezed his throat. Juan gave him an awkward blow. Blood began to flow from Alfonso's nose. Thus, Juan overpowered Alfonso and managed to flee, but at the cost of his only dress. Question 20. What was the consequence of this scandal? Answer. After this incident, Alfonso sued for divorce. All were published in the English newspaper. Dona Inês, mother of Juan, vowed to offer several pounds of candles to Virgin Mary to divert the public attention from the notorious scandal of her son. Then, by the advice of some old ladies, Inês decided to send her son away for education. She had resolved to send him to European countries, especially in France and Italy, to mend his former morals or to get new morals. Julia, on the other hand, was sent to convent for moral purification. From the convent, she wrote him, Juan, a letter in which she expressed her intense and sincere love for him. She wrote in the letter that she had lost the station, heaven, mankind, and her own esteem for the sake of her love for him. But in spite of losing, she could not forget the sweet memory of her love. She states in the letter that man's life is not fully occupied only by love. He can easily turn down love from life. He may arrange the court, camp, church, the vessel, the mart, sword, gown, gain, glory, pride, fame, ambition to fill up his heart. But love is the whole existence of a woman. If she falls in love, she falls forever. That is why she says man's love is of his life a thing apart. But it's woman's whole existence. Question 21. What are the main features of Don Juan's character? Answer. Don Juan is the son of an easygoing father, Don Jose, and a strict mother, Dona Inês. After the death of his father, his mother became his guardian. He wanted to make him an all-round man. He had learned the art of riding, fencing, gunnery, and how to scale a fortress or a nunnery. His mother desired to teach him morality. She appointed learned tutors for him. She herself selected the books for which were to be taught to him. He was read the dead languages, the sciences and art which are used commonly. But he was not allowed to read any page of something which is loose, lest he should become vicious. But his later life is dominated by immortality. At the age of 16, he begins to have sex with his mother's friend Julia, who is 23 years old. In a cloudy night of November, when Juan was having sex with Julia in her bed, her husband Alfonso returned with torches, friends, and servants and reverends. When Julia tried to flee through the open door, he faced Alfonso with open sword. There ensued a duel between them. Juan knocked him down. Alfonso hit him with his pommel. His sword had dropped from his hand before he could open it to attack Juan. They continued their fighting hand to hand. When Alfonso tried to hold back Juan, he squeezed his throat. Juan gave him an awkward blow. Blood began to flow from Alfonso's nose. Juan overpowered Alfonso and managed to flee, but at the cost of his only dress. Thus, Juan is immoral, but brave and strong. Question 22. Briefly state the theme of Don Juan, Canto 1. Answer. Love is a dominant theme in Don Juan. Byron begins Canto 1 attacking the hypocrisy of parents and husbands towards love and marriage. Byron's purpose in the first canto is to present a picture of first love, adolescent, dreamy, and naively sweet against the background of gross hypocrisy. The effect is to be bittersweet and is to be accomplished by a lightness of touch. The style and attitude must be comic, as when Juan is caught by Alfonso, he managed to flee at the cost of his only dress. According to Byron, first love is light and thoughtless and unreal in both its animal and its sentimental aspect. To highlight the superiority of the first and passionate love, Byron has given a long description of various sweet things to focus on the emotion of love. Juan's first love in the civilized is debased by hypocrisy. Byron tries to make it quite clear that Donna Inez was not prompted to separate Juan and Julia when they were falling in love, because Juan's mother, Inez, is now a widow and had once been courted by Julia's husband, Don Alfonso. She was consequently jealous of Julia and wanted to destroy her reputation and even her marriage. Using Juan as a tool, she succeeded in separating Julia from Don Alfonso by divorce and getting her locked up in a convent. In Canto 10, we learn from Inez's letter to Juan that Inez is married and Juan already has a little brother. The suggestion is that she married Don Alfonso. The jealous hypocrisy of Inez and Alfonso is clearly sketched. Question 23. Write short notes on satire. Answer. Satire is a literary piece of composition that intends to ridicule the abuses and follies of man and woman of the society. Its aim is to correct the malpractices by inspiring both indignation and laughter with a combination of criticism, ironic humor, and wit. Satire is sometimes divided into formal and indirect. In formal satire, the writer or his mouthpiece speaks in the first person directly to the reader or sometimes to other character. In indirect satire, the writer creates a story peopled with characters who speak and act in such a manner that themselves become the target of satire. Satire may also be classified into two, Horatian and Juvenalian. Horatian satire, named after Roman poet Horace, is gentle, amused, and mildly corrective. In contrast, Juvenalian satire is harsh, biting, bitter, misanthropic, and full of indignation and contempt. Byron's Don Juan is an epic satire. The hero of this epic satire is Don Juan, a Spanish adventurer, and his biography is a thread on which Byron hangs description, episodes, and satirical digressions. In Don Juan, Byron records the panoramic survey of human society with foibles and weaknesses of social institutions and political personalities. In the poem, he also satirized the code of love prevailing at the moment. Question 24. Write short notes on Byronic hero. Answer. An epic hero is a man of a strong personality. He is a formidable figure of a high stature. He belongs to a high pedigree and possesses valor to the highest degree. But Byronic hero is different from this type of traditional hero. Number one, the Byronic hero reflects aspects of Byron's character. He is a projection of Byron's own personality, his likings, his dislikings, his hatreds and antipathies. Number two, the Byronic hero is a rogue, a man of loose moral. He falls in love with several women and enjoys pleasures of sex. Number three, he is an embodiment of restlessness. Number four, he represents pride and bravery. He is indomitable. He loves freedom and rebels against oppression and restraint. Number five, he is very much adventurous. He is brave enough to set sail to the unknown seas as well as for uncertain life. Question 25. Write short notes on Donna Julia. Answer. Donna Julia was Moorish origin. She was not totally Spanish. Donna Julia was a charming lady of 23. She was very beautiful. Many charms were added to her beauty. Her charms were as natural as sweetness to the flower or salt to ocean. She was married to Alfonso, a man of 50. Their conjugal life was not happy because of their unequal age. Alfonso could not satisfy her sexual desires, so Julia was compelled to fall in love with Juan, a youth of 16. Their love turned into illicit affairs or a relationship. They began to enjoy the pleasure of sex frequently. When she was caught red-handed, she was sent to a convent for moral purification. From the convent, she wrote him, Juan, a letter in which she expressed his intense and sincere love for him. Thus, through her character, Byron satirizes the bad effects of socially arranged marriage, which took place between the persons of unequal age. Question 26. Write short notes on Donna Inés. Answer. Donna Inés was a learned lady. She gained fame for having knowledge in every branch of knowledge, every branch of science, but fond of mathematics. She knew every Christian language. She made the cleverest people quite ashamed by displaying her wit. The cleverest people felt ashamed because they found their wit inferior to her. She was a mine of memory. She learned by heart all the dramas of Calderon and a greater part of the dramas of Lope, two Spanish dramatists. If an actor on the stage forgot his dialogue, she could help him by supplying the dialogue from her memory. But her relation with her husband was not based on good terms. She always quarrels with him. She even tries to prove her husband mad. She had an illicit affair with Alfonso and continued it even after her marriage. She later son Juan mixed with Julia with a view to spoil Julia's marriage blessing and continued her own affair with Alfonso. She also succeeded in her plan. Thus, she is a perfect hypocrite. Thank you friends for watching my video.